Hi guys, and welcome to today's session. So we're going to be continuing with this portrait study, sort of like a portrait in situ study. And mostly today we're going to be focusing on getting the background developed a little bit more and also doing a little bit of glazing over the figure. So let's start with that glazing. So by glazing I mean doing a thin, so like a transparent pass of tone over what we already have down. And I'm starting with a little bit of black. So this is just Ivory Black. And I'm basically, it's like you're doing a wash, like a sort of transparent wash. If you've done any watercolor, it's similar to doing a very sort of thin watercolor pass. So you can see it really boosts the depth of these tones. Everything's completely dry, so it's in oil, so nothing's blending with the layer below. You can't do this immediately after painting something because it will obviously start to blend into the layer above. So you can see the effect that it has on, say, the brown coat versus the red scarf is quite different. And it's just a really quick way to kind of push things a little bit darker without necessarily impacting them hugely, changing their shape or anything like that. So yeah, just a really useful sort of technique to have in your repertoire. You can also sort of fuzz the edges out a little bit if need be. I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a glaze over the face, just ever so slightly, and then just blur it out a little bit, just using my finger. But we're not going to go hugely into the face today, but I am going to try to get the hair to be a little bit darker. But we will be going back over and developing that more next week when we get kind of back into the main part of the face. So anywhere I want to go a lot darker, I can just add more, kind of build up the amount of the black glaze that I've got laying over it. I'm just going to pull just a few kind of lighter, more golden colors, using a small brush out of the hair just to make it kind of nice and clear that this is the hair sweeping across the face. Generally getting the hair just right takes a few different passes. Something that benefits from kind of quite a bit of overlapping. Just blending these darker glaze tones out ever so slightly, just using the same flesh tone mixtures that I was working with last week. So if you want kind of like a recap of those, I recommend rewatching last week's video, or if you haven't seen it, definitely it'd be worth checking out just to kind of understand the whole process leading up to this point. But I don't want to get too deeply into the face, because we are trying to leave that for next session. But yeah, I just wanted to blend that out ever so slightly. It'll probably darken and shift color a bit anyway, between now and next week. But it just kind of keeps control of the overall effect if we do it this way. So yeah, that's all right, I think. Possibly I'll go in a little bit just with that warmer tone up here as well. So again, just blending out slightly into those colors, just with the same flesh tone mixtures. Yeah, that's looking all right, I think. And what I want to do now is jump back to the background. So the same thing with the rest of the background. I actually want to just generally put, particularly sort of down on this side, I want to glaze some black paint over this. So you can see I put a little bit too much down, and if I spread it, it kind of just travels out. The effect we're aiming for is that the face pops out more, basically, because everything around it becomes darker. So that's the sort of like advantage of glazes. They allow you to make these sorts of tweaks. I'm going to leave kind of like some shapes here, because I want to start building a sense of those lights. So I'm trying to generally do a little bit of a gradient kind of coming up from the base of these poles, so have that be a bit darker where it goes up and meets the side of the face. and then rise up and kind of be a bit lighter again. And then also pull, so we're going to pull some of these darker tones, kind of paint them into the sort of wet into wet. This side too, going to pull a little bit of glaze down as well. Yeah, you can see that just helps kind of pop the face forward a lot from the beginning of the lesson. And I'm going to clean off my medium-sized brush now, because I want to lay in the really white highlights too. So far, pretty much, apart from the little bit where I was tweaking the portrait, using those portrait colors that we had last session, we've not really used a huge number of pigments. We just used black, and now I'm moving into using white. And the white I want to lay in just everywhere where we've got these lights, and that's going to be a lot more opaque. So where we were kind of painting everything really thinly, now we're going in with, you know, a big thick impastoed amount of white. And so that starts to kind of set up the sense of this glowing, which we're going to develop with more little scumbles and glazes, but we just need to start getting the body in a bit as well. We've got some sort of headlights in the background there too, so we can put them in brightly like that as well. Some bright bluish lights up there in the background too. So they feel bluish, but we're just going to put them in as white for now. And then we're going to glaze over the top of them next week. But as I say, we're just building the shapes that we need to use. And so coming out of this dark edge that I just put in, we want a reflection in the roadside from these lamps, and that's going to be pretty much pure bright white as well. We can also start to suggest some of these reflections in the bridge behind, that kind of metalwork stuff. But like a lot of the other stuff, they're quite abstracted what we're going to do with those. And a teeny bit, we take a little bit of yellow. And we want to just sort of drag and get a bit darker as we try to get the railing top as well there. And that's almost the same colour as her hair that's sort of caught from behind. So we take a little bit of yellow and white. Can also use that just to start to boost and amplify the highlight down the side of her face. Yeah, that's looking a lot better, a much better basis to work from. So we don't need to do loads more than that today. I'm going to do got a couple of minutes, I'll do a few little tweaks. add like a little bit more of a yellowish halo, so I'm taking some cadmium yellow, mix it into my flesh tone colour. Just put that around the hair. A little bit of it up here as well with this hair on top of the head. My little brush that has a little bit of black on it, and just want to redefine the bottom of that chin ever so slightly. Get a little bit of black, pure black up into here as well. Continue building the depth around some parts of the yeah, that's looking not too bad. So the thing that we'll be doing next week with these lights, once everything is dried, and I'll sort of do a little bit of a test of it now. It's probably a bit too early, but we're going to be taking bright yellow, so I'm using like a pure CAD yellow, and we're going to be building that really bright yellow up just around the edges of this white colour. But it tends not to work so well kind of wet into wet, especially with the black glaze, so we'll leave that for now, and then we come back next week to the rest of the face. We'll start to sort of bring that stuff together a little bit more, make it a bit more sophisticated. But yeah, that's it for today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson and have enjoyed the previous ones as well. If you missed any of those, I recommend going back and watching them and to just see the sequence of how this was all built up. It's a very gradual process, and each stage kind of like layers over the other, but hopefully it's manageable. And if you have been attempting this one, there's the reference in the link below. Definitely let me know how you get on. If you've been working on your own sort of reference, let me know as well. I'd love to see what you've been doing. And if you have any questions, you can always just put them in the comments, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Give us a follow on YouTube if you want to see more videos from myself and other tutors. And you can click the link below in the description through to our website if you want to see the sorts of paid qualifications that we offer also. So yeah, that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys soon.